So you're curious as to how you can turn 10K, 100K, maybe even $1,000 and then make millions out of it. Now, I can't promise you turning a small amount into a lot is ever guaranteed, but with the right information and with the right tools, you can make it happen. And today, I am going to provide that to you all. I'm going to give you the insights into how I'm looking to turn a very little amount of money into multi-millions. I'm also going to give you tips, and I'm going to give you my actual sheet I am using to calculate everything. That'll take hundreds of hours of work, and truly, that's what it does take sometimes when creating these exit plans, and give you it all for half an hour. Literally half an hour dedicated towards this on a weekend rather than grabbing a coffee with the wife, for example. You can go ahead and make all of this happen and live a little bit stress-free. So why should you listen to me? Well, I've spent tens of thousands of hours in the crypto space, not just researching and curating the information in order to find what makes an altcoin good, but also how I can maximize my gains in the safest possible way. Hence, we come to an intuitive and comprehensive sheet like the one I will show you today, which I've based everything around. You guys will have access to this. I'll tell you how to have access to it in a second here. But first, we're going to have to start at the most sensible place possible, and that is our goals. But before goals, I want to say, guys, look, as you all know, if you do enjoy the content, if you think, oh, hang on a sec, this guy's got some pretty good information, drop a like on the video, because believe it or not, it makes my day. I swear, hand on my heart, okay? And also subscribe, of course, so you can achieve your crypto goals in this cycle. You know how it is. This is the best place for crypto information. Subjective, but I think it's true. Now, goals are the number one and most important place to start. Why? Because goals are where you're able to figure out how much money you need to make. If we know how much money we need to make, in my example here, I'm just trying to make 5.6 million AUD if we include tax. We have to include tax, otherwise you run the risk of course, undershooting our goals. That might be the difference between you not going on the vacation, not buying the house. We have to factor in tax, which comes to about 3.6 million US dollars. And again, this is my ceiling. So how much money I put in the market, I know I'm just trying to achieve the ceiling goal. What this may look like for you is maybe a goal of $1 million, which I think a lot of you guys are sort of aiming for. If you put about 100K in, I think $1 million is quite sensible, as crazy as it sounds. Maybe your goal is 100K, whatever. Now, the problem with not setting your goal and you having a rough idea of your goal in mind is when the market goes up, and believe you me, this will happen, you will reach your goal and you will think, lizard brain, I want to go even higher. I want more dollar signs. So what you do is say, forget about the goal of $1 million. Let's go 1.25 mil. Okay, because now I can buy a Corvette as well. And then you hit that goal pretty quickly because it is crypto, things move fast. And you think to yourself, that goal is pretty easy to obtain. Let's go 1.5 mil. And then all of a sudden you get close and what happens? Goes down, right? What happens is liquidity falls out, the market shits itself, and you end up not being able to get out of any of these prices here because, of course, it's illiquid. Everyone's trying to sell, no one's trying to buy, and you end up going way, way past your initial goal, and you end up holding for the next bear market through to the next bull market, and you hate yourself for it. How do I know this so confidently? It's happened to me. It has happened to every single other person I have ever spoken to that has been in a previous crypto bull run. Every person. Let that sink in, every single person. So I cannot stress it enough how important it is for you to set goals and go after the goals. Materialize it. You can see here, this is my material goals. I am trying to get this. And what this ultimately means is that when you dollar cost average, right, when you put money in the market and you buy the dip, what you should be doing is saying, okay, I'm adding more money into my positions, into my overall portfolio. So I'm not trying to sell at the same levels anymore, okay, because you'll make more money. You're going to bring down your average sell level per coin. So of course, for example, right, if you put $100,000 in the market, your goal is $1 million, that's a 10x. If you get lucky and you make $250K the next day, let's say you have about $330,000, that's a 3x. So what some people will do then is look to go, okay, well, I could have 10x before, I'm going to keep looking for a 10x. So now my goal is 3.3 million. So they've now 3x their goal. But no, what they should do is look for just simply still getting that $1 million to achieve their goal. There is no point adding more risk by looking for the same targets. What I mean by that is this is my portfolio, okay? I'm not going to show you how much I've invested because I kind of want to keep this a little bit private and only give it to the private community guys. However, this is all my altcoins. This is actually how much I own. You can do the maths yourself if you really want to figure it out, okay? So as I've been able to dollar cost average over the course of the last few months, I haven't just said, well, I'm going to keep all my sell levels the same. I'm actually bringing these down. Near Protocol was once higher than this. Mina was once like $12. Hedera was once $1.50. I'm bringing these down just to ensure I achieve my goal. Now, you can see my goal is a little bit less than the $4 million I will get if I actually sell each of these levels. But that's for an intended purpose. That's actually for a reason. We'll talk about that here in just 1 second. This sheet will also give you a cost basis portfolio diversification breakdown. So this is how much money, actual cash, you've put into each altcoin. I like to keep mine pretty even split, around give or take 8 to 13% for each coin. You can see they're pretty well evenly split. And also this sheet will work out for you your diversification once you sell on the top side. So sometimes you'll have the cash, the cost base is pretty evenly split, but when you go to sell, you'll have a lot of one coin. So you'll be pretty much risking a lot of your portfolio in one project, which of course can be quite risky if you're trying to remove risk. So you might want to spread out the gains made over your whole portfolio. So here's why that $4 million is there. And again, we're just trying to achieve our goal. So my goal is 3.6 mil. Why am I overshooting that by 400K? That's adding 400K extra worth of risk. Well, it's because we have to sort of compensate here for initial investment levels. You might have heard some influencers say, hey, take out your initial investment. But what they don't do is give you the math behind it. Because once you do that, what you're saying is, I'm basically taking out all of the money I've put in, and therefore everything on the table is profit. But what actually happens is you have a new portfolio. Yes, every single sell level is profit, but you have to recalibrate because you no longer have, in the case of myself, 52,000 Mina protocol tokens. If you take your initial investment out, okay, claw back the money I've put in, you now have 44,000 tokens if you do that, right? I sold about 14% of my portfolio at $5 for Mina. So again, I've pretty well lost about 8,000 tokens. So again, you're going to be making less money. You can see here the estimated ROI after the initial investment level is 400,000 for Mina, and before it was 468. So I've lost 68 grand basically because, well, that's almost the money I've put in. So to give you some rundown, you want to have initial investment levels to be as safe as possible. Of course, again, the worst thing is having sell levels and they never actually hit, or most of them don't hit, and you actually leave the bull run with less money than you put in. The worst thing comes to worst, at least we can get back our initial investment. Some of these coins, I don't actually have an initial investment because my average buy-in price is actually quite low. And I think the coins can basically shoot a lot higher than what I'm selling at. That's why I don't have it over here for Near Protocol or Hedera HBAR. Again, I'm selling HBAR at 80 cents. So I think this coin can go well above $1. So for me, I'm not going to really need to be as safe at the initial investment level. You don't have to with each coin, but at least the option's there to have it. So after the initial investment is taken out, I'm actually still a little bit above my overall goal, by give or take about 100K. So after this video, I will go ahead and actually, to reduce that, is remove these sell levels, make them a bit lower, okay? So, Near Protocol, for example, might go to $50, which will bring down the revenue. And if we scroll across right here, we can see I've dropped down, give or take, about $40,000. So I will continue to do that. Again, we're just taking off risk here, being as safe as possible. So I had a great question here from Jose in the private community as I put this sheet up for everyone to have access to over there. And of course, that is where you'll have access to this. Of course, $33 in the bottom tier, you'll have access to this, plus a whole bunch of other amazing things like my 100 plus price prediction sheet. 100 plus altcoins on there, guys. Data-driven price predictions, plus this. Again, saves you plenty of time. It's the least I can pretty much give it. All right, this took me a lot of hours to make. A lot of experience have gone into it. People will complain, hey, stop pushing your products. I think, hey, I think all the time I've put into building this stuff out in my own way, that's, I think, just saying, hey, I'm happy to help support the channel, I guess. You don't have to if you don't want to. Again, the option is there. Now, Jose said, Clone, well, your personal price prediction for Mina in that price prediction sheet in the private community was about $20. Okay, so he said the highest exit level in your exit plan is $10. I don't understand this. Well, Jose, actually, my average sell in Mina in this case is $9 because since he has known about this, I've actually dropped down a little bit more. Again, because of dollar cost average sum, and therefore I'm bringing down the top side by just simply bringing down the average sell levels. And so what I pretty much responded with, which is what I'll say here, is this is important for a few different reasons. One, price predictions are price predictions, okay? They are just an idea of where the price can go to. They might go a lot higher, they might go a lot lower. They're just an idea, they're a prediction, okay? Not to mention as well, you want to sell as far beneath the price prediction level as possible, typically at least 25% down, because you have to have some sell levels above, as I'll show you here momentarily, to, of course, average out at that particular level, okay? So you don't want to sell up there, Because if you look for, say, selling Mina at $20 as the price prediction, you're adding on so much more risk. Every single level above $20 you look to sell. It's extreme amounts of risk here. Not to mention, you also run the risk if you're trying to aim for that top price that everyone else is sort of aiming for a high price too. And if you aim for that price, again, like the example before with the whole portfolio, you're going to aim for that high price, everyone starts selling on you, and then you don't have the liquidity to actually sell, right? So it's a kind of like a run on the bank, if you will, and therefore you end up selling a lot lower. So we're trying to find altcoins here, like Mina, for example, that can do far more than what I'm selling at, right? Literally double probably where I'm looking to sell. But this allows me to easily get out of the market. There'll be a lot of liquidity in Mina at that point in time, which again allows me to get out in the safest possible way. Trust me, liquidity is a big issue when it comes to the end of the cycle, particularly when a project is really blowing up, okay? Once no one buys anymore, you're kind of screwed. Nevertheless, that was a really good question by Jose. I'm glad he asked it so I could help everyone else out with that question as well, because some of these coins I've got over here, I've only got 13 coins, by the way, like ICP. I've said ICP can go as high as $200. Why is Render at $70? Again, guys, these were a lot higher a month ago. As of dollar cost average, I've been fortunate to bring down my average with the simple goal of just trying to get the target. Now, here's how you go ahead and do this, by the way. I will run through each of these exact exit plans in a second here. I'll let you guys screenshot if you want this. Again, this will be in the private community as well, but I will give you the chance to look through it in your own time. I'm not going to break down every single sell level, overanalyze this for you all. The video will go for half an hour. But what I want to do is show you kind of how it works, right? So I've done this in a way that you can very easily visualize each sell level in green, visualize the initial investment level if you have it. You can see I don't have one over here for NIA, so there's no pink line. We can see I'm getting my initial investment out for Mina at $5. And the yellow shaded area tells you how much in a percentage you're selling at each level. So level 6 over here for Mina, we are selling at $9, okay? And we are selling, give or take, about 20%, well, give or take, actually 20% of our portfolio. And if we come across here, you can see level 6, yep, we're selling at $9 and 20%. So it just helps you visualize it when you're entering these numbers. Now, going in your own time, of course, if you do want to use the sheet, entering this is very easy. You just got to experiment, guys. So what I did here was basically work out, okay, so what is my average target for Mina? Well, it's $9, right? That will auto-populate from what you set up here, what your actual sell price is needed to be. And the weighted average is actually what you need to make it. So when you have this nice and fresh, the weighted average will be 0. Okay, the goal over here is $9. The goal is 402,000, and the goal is to sell 44,000 tokens. So then you can go and experiment, right? So alt controls you that, and this is what I've come to for Mina. So we can see here as an example, right? $9, start selling at $6.50. Initial investment's quite low down here at $5 just to be safe. And we're selling 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%. So down here, 5%, and then we up to 10%. Then we go to 20% for a few levels. And the last level is 30%. A question I get sometimes is, Kyron, why would you want to sell 30% at $10? That's a lot. Well, it's far safer selling more of your portfolio at a lower level than it is selling more of your portfolio or less of your portfolio at higher levels, okay? So again, I would always opt in this case to go 30% at $10, then go, for example, $12.50, $13 or $13.50, for example, and then remove that 30% and go 10%, 5%, 5%, 10%, for example, okay? So yes, we're selling less at each of these higher levels. However, we are also adding extreme amounts of risk because Mina might never get to $12.50, Mina might actually only go to $10 or $10.50. In this case, I'd rather actually execute on a lower level, sell more on that than above, because nevertheless, you're still selling that percent of the portfolio up here, okay? So it's much just safer doing it this way, which is what I always say to people. Now, in addition to that, when you're actually experimenting with this, and what I'll do is come down here to my Synesis 1 and my Goldfinch, because I'm not actually going to have any sell levels for these. There's pretty much not enough money here. You can see my overall profit being 34,000 for me to really warrant, actually having sell levels, at least at this point in time. So what I'll always do is just do 10% each way. So go to 10 levels and one more there. You can see we're at 100%, and I'll throw spaghetti at the wall. So we know our average sell price is $1.10. So I might start down here at 50 cents and then go to 60 cents and then go to 70 cents and then go maybe start going to 75 and just tick up. So of course you do want to sell a lot lower than what you're actually needing to average out at. So you can see here the average we're trying to sell here is $1.10. Okay, we want to have more to the bottom side, at least in terms of numbers, and less numbers to the top side or sell levels, but we'll end up having a higher percentage. It's much safer this way. You at least make some money down here in addition to possibly having an initial investment out level, so you do make some profit. Plus then again, this is just safer on the top. So we can see here we're missing the mark. We're selling at 88 cents. We need to sell at $1.10. So all I'll do is, that's quite a bit off. So I'll make those 5%, for example, make these 15%. And okay, so we're almost there, about 10 cents or so off. So what I'll do is, okay, we're probably not going to get there, if making these 5%. I mean, you'll see here if I make these 5%, and you kind of want to add that percent to the lowest possible level while making the actual most amount of difference. But for argument's sake, let's just throw an extra 10% up here. So we're only at $1. So what I'll say is this pretty much tells us that we are selling way too low in this case. So I might remove maybe the bottom two levels here, copy this and paste this back up here. And we have an extra 10% to play with. And we have moved almost up to the very, very top, you can see here. So what I might even try to do is make this 20% and make actually here, this one 25% and make this one here 20%. And we are still 5 cents off. The difference between here is 33,000 and 34,000. So we give or take about 1,600 bucks off. Now for me, for the size of my end portfolio, that's not enough for me to really worry about adding more risk to the top side. So I'd be okay with that. In the case $2,000, or if this difference is $20,000, which it can be sometimes, you might want to, of course, add some more to the top side. So again, you might want to go make this one here, 5% or 7.5%, for example, and see if that makes a difference if you add it here. Not quite. So you might want to add it here. Not quite. 25% here. Almost there. And again, the difference is now almost negligible, about $1,000. So call it a day. Again, just keep playing around. You can see here on the right-hand side, this has given us a nice visualization. All you'll have to do is go to your exchange and say, hey, Binance, for example, I want to sell Synesis 1. I want to sell 1,575 tokens at 70 cents, and it'll give you this much profit. And that's what you do. So Synesis 1, I want to sell 7,000 odd tokens at $1.20, and it'll spit out that much profit. So this just allows you to easily plot this into your exchange to have these sell levels all sorted and done. So what I'll do now is on your screen, you'll see a few different screenshots of each of these 13 coins that I do own. So all I ask is, of course, if you do want to see what actual levels I'm selling at, to screenshot, but just keep again in mind that the goal is to reduce these down. So as I do put more money in the market and therefore, have more money invested, I'll be able to bring down my average exit price for each coin, which means that I'll be bringing down all my sell levels and average sell levels for each of these altcoins. So thanks for watching today's video, everyone. I hope you have learned something new, and you can let me know if you have by dropping a like on this video and, again, subscribing so you can achieve all your crypto goals and even more in this bull run. Take good care. Bye.